Okay, well, this is Rhonda Baird, and I want to welcome you to the Great Lakes Permaculture Design Collaborative podcast. This is a collaborative that formed in 2016 to bring together 3 regional permaculturists to innovate permaculture practices in design and education. My name is Rhonda, and I'm here with William and Milton Dixon, William Faith and Milton Dixon.
Hello.
Okay, so here we are today talking about the Introduction to Permaculture free e-course, kind of online course that we've put together. And we've put together a course that has some really foundational thoughts about how to approach permaculture design in it, right? And the idea is that it gives you a sense of like all the foundations for permaculture design, and also puts you in permaculture, like shows up like what is it that you are interested in, what are you want out of permaculture, and helps you identify that. I don't know. That's kind of how I've been thinking about it. What do you want to say to it, Milton?
What it's helped clarify for me is that, in permaculture we have a vision, right? And we have this Garden of Eden. Hopefully, we have the vision with the people involved. That we vision ourselves in this situation, but it doesn't always. It never happens the way that we vision it, right? You have this vision, and then you never quite get there. Mm-hmm. And with permaculture design, I think there's a tension between what actually is and what actually exists on the ground, and then what the vision is. And the way that we kind of resolve some of that tension is with goals. And so I think the free intro course really helps you do those things. It really gets you to look around at the way things work and what's around you, mm-hmm. and then start to make a few you can start to make gestures in the direction where you want to head, right? And see how it all responds, because it's sometimes we choose wrong, sometimes we do the wrong thing, right?
And that's what we learn the most from, right?
That's right.
If we let ourselves learn from those things instead of getting discouraged and walking away and going in a different direction. Right. So one of the beautiful things about permaculture is that it is this system that kind of keeps us from going too far off in one direction or another. Although, if that's part of the reason to study it and think about it, about the design practices, so that it keeps us from going too far off track. And I really appreciate that. So we put this course together, this little self-study course for people who don't really know anything about permaculture.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because we know that even though an increasing number of people do know about permaculture, there's a lot of people still just discovering it and wondering what it has to offer them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that's like the common trope that permaculture is advanced organic gardening, and that's true, but it's also not true, right? That's only the one little piece of it. Mm-hmm. Permaculture really is, and I think this course kind of helps you see it's about the whole goings on around us, how we've organized ourselves, how we think about the world, is really affected by our ability to see the patterns and to see the fractal nature and all this crazy stuff that it's a rabbit hole. Once you go down it, you're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, and it's also just really occurring to me that there's so many people who want to be doing something healthier for themselves, something better for their children. We're all very concerned about what's going on in the world, and we want to know what we can do to just sort of in an altruistic way, there's that level of what can I do better? But then it's also really practical that what we do when we reorganize so that we're more efficient, that we're just doing things that make sense, that are super practical, super applicable to our lives, that make our lives feel better and have more meaning. It's like, yes, the next generation is really critical. Preserving, biodiversity is really important. And this totally makes sense. And that's one of the things that keeps me fired up about permaculture, not burning out around permaculture design. I've been doing this for a long time now, is that it just makes sense. So I'm excited for people to kind of get into the course, get that piece. Let us know how you find how it's working for you, because this is not a perfect course.
Well, that's actually, I think that's the secret of the course.
Yeah.
And the fractal nature of it is that it's not done, and we need that feedback, right? And we need contact with people to tell us what's not right, or what, or new ideas even that are spurred on by the what we talk about.
Yeah. So it's a course for you when you take it, and it's an invitation to dialogue with people who have been practicing permaculture for 14 years or 10 years, or however long, each of us, I think collectively we have many decades of permaculture practice. So, so it's an opportunity to engage in dialogue with us about what you're finding and what your questions are as well. And to find out about our courses and how we work together, and what we might have to offer you. Yeah.
Well, I introduced you to, Milton, me, Rhonda down here, and William, who sadly can't be with us today.
Yeah.
But I think it's, I'm really glad that we've put it out. I think it's a great way for people to just kind of learn more about permaculture and about us and about what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we normally do these introductions, and I'm always like, oh yeah, what am I doing? And then there's like this whole list of things. But on the forefront of my mind are, I'm doing 2 conferences that are important to me within this week. And I just want to share that with people. One is I'll be doing a sociocracy online conference and talking about my experience with sharing and implementing and starting to work with sociocracy or dynamic governance with Great Rivers and Lakes Permaculture Institute, which is a 6-state regional permaculture institute. And then also this weekend I'll be at the Global Earth Repair Conference in Port Townsend, Washington, and I'll be actually doing 2 presentations, one on networking and how to support our projects and connect with other people who share a common vision with us, so we can mutually support each other. And then the second one, I'll be talking about the kinds of permaculture we can apply at sort of watershed scale, larger scale, when we collaborate with other people in order to have healthier ecosystems, better water quality, proper forestation, that kind of thing. So I'm excited about that. And then collaboratively, we have the Plants in Permaculture workshop coming up in about a month at the 3rd or 4th weekend in May. And then the other thing we have going on is that our online permaculture design course will start the 3rd week of June. Yes. Yeah. So that no matter where you are, if you can get on the internet on a regular basis, you can join us and we can go deeper dive on this permaculture design stuff. Well, I will say I went to the Fort Wayne Permaculture Convergence this weekend. And
how was that?
It was an inaugural event. It was small, but it was it brought together some really cool people, and it had some people who, it was really interesting. We think about, like, our society teaches us start small and manageable and get bigger and bigger and bigger, more interconnected. And as an organizer, I kind of, think about that. I'm like, okay, doing my neighborhood out, this regional scale institute. This guy, and I will not remember his last name, Scott, and he's with Three Rivers Fruit Growers Club. He told this most fascinating story, and he's kind of working the opposite way, where he kind of started this sort of city region, the region of Fort Wayne, fruit growing club, and he started that after he'd been going to these, conferences and gatherings that were 4 hours away from him, in Chicago, or 2 hours away in Indianapolis. And then he's like, well, I want to be smaller, and so then he just keeps working to get to where he's only working in and really able to influence this sort of smaller circle so that he has it become more effective for him. So
that's interesting, the way that he's gathering, though, a certain set of people, not just like, hey, what's immediately around me. He's like gathering it in smaller and smaller. And what is that effective size? Where does it stop?
Well, and what's cool is as he gets closer in, so now like he doesn't want to drive 2 hours away, like he'll go like an hour, he meet with people within 1 hour driving distance from him. Every time he makes that jump to a smaller, he only does it when he's connected with other people or trained other people to be able to do it for themselves in that distance, so that then he can just focus on a smaller area.
Oh, that's really cool.
And he's like, my idea is to just be able to bike to everything that I need to go to. Like it's all within what I need. So that's a really cool approach to making it really doable for yourself. Yeah. Goals.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thanks for listening to our Dixon, Rhonda Baird, and William Faith. And we get together and push the edges a little bit. See what stirs up.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.